This video is going to show you how to take a grid, a raster grid that you've got as an ArcGIS file, any grid that has a value of depth or even slope, but I would only suggest depth to take into Fledermaus. But anything that has that third, so it has the X, Y and then a Z data, you can make into a Fledermaus file. So we're going to just take a regular raster data set. So I'm going to choose the Capri Arc 25 meter grid, which is just a raster grid here, you can see it. So you can just see that the difference is, so it's got 3 meters to minus 51.97 meters, so it's just a bathymetric raster data set. And so you want to change that into an ASCII, so I always go to the search tab in the toolbox and just type in ASCII, and then it brings up all the ASCII options, and you've got the raster to ASCII option, so just double click on that. The input raster, we can just click down because it's already in our project, and we just go to Capri Arc 25 meter, and then we want to put the file somewhere, so we just go to our tutorials and I'll just put it in ArcGIS. I'm actually going to call it ASCII, so because we've actually already done one there, but I'll just call it Capri Qt 25 meter. So yeah, so you have to make sure, I think text does work as well, but I always use ASCII, so you want to make sure it's a .asc file. And so you just save that, press OK. It takes a bit of time to process it. So basically the idea is to make a scene file that we can use in Fledermaus. So I know you can also do it in dmagic, but in the new Fledermaus you're actually able to just sort of directly import an ASCII grid, whereas before you had to do that in dmagic. So we could do it in dmagic if we wanted, but we'll do it in Fledermaus just because it just it misses a step. So just close that. So now we're in Fledermaus, which has got no information in it, and you just go import, and then it's actually gridded data. And ASCII is a sort of text table which is a grid, and then we go to our ArcGIS folder and then find the Capri Qt 25 meter ASCII, and you just one click and then press open. Then it will ask you to choose the type of gridded data, and this is just an ArcView ASCII grid, so just choose that option and then next. Just to let you know, there you can actually import all these different types of gridded data, so there's quite a lot of options, but we'll just use the ASCII grid. So just press next, make sure that the correct coordinate systems are used, so that will be the coordinate systems from the data you're actually converting, and then press next, and it's now looking for the bounding coordinates and the minimum maximum depth. So this is where you want to compare with your original data. So you can see there that we've got a maximum 3 meters and minus 51.9. So when we look at the original grid, we can see that it's the same. So everything looks fine there. So you just press next. We don't need to invert the data, the Z data, because it's already completely fine. It's a Sonar DTM. So it's good practice to always save in your project in the SD folder, because that's what we're creating. So I'll just put Capri Qt again, 25 meter, and just save. And we'll keep the color map, which we can edit at any point in Fledermaus, so it doesn't really matter which one you choose right now. And then finish, and it will process it so that we can visualize it in Fledermaus exactly the same way we've seen it in ArcGIS, except it will be 3D. So it's quite useful because sometimes you'll get older files that will just be in ArcGIS. People won't be sending scenes. I think generally people send grids in ArcGIS format, so you can visualize all of them. So I'll just zoom in on the area. So I'll just exaggerate it a bit more because there's not a great deal of difference in the heights, just to prove that it is an actual 3D grid. So there we go. it takes a bit of time to render, but you can see that it's really good for getting a better understanding of that data that you saw in Arc. Okay, so that's the end of the tutorial.